to another edition of the Loose Cannons podcast. As always, I am your host, Sammer, and I'm hanging out with my guys, Stank and Christian Chicken Breast. And we have a special guest today with the lovely Casey Phillips of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What is up, guys?
What's up? What's going on?
Hey.
Man, this is exciting, dude. We get Carmen on here last week, and then we get her. I don't know. Are you Batman or is she Robin? How does that all work? Whichever.
Probably depends which one of us you ask on that one. I think we probably both love to claim Batman because it comes with a way better car. But, I think that we're both okay with either role.
Yeah, you guys have our dream jobs in a sense. You guys get to deal with our favorite team on a day-to-day basis. You get to be in the building, usually, outside of COVID circumstances. But right off the bat, we're going to ask you the one question that we all have on our mind immediately, which is, where were you when Tom Brady was signed and what went through your mind?
Well, I think it's almost a potentially different answer of where was I when we found out he was going to be signed versus when it actually became a thing, except for the fact that, they were both the same because I was at home for both things and just chilling in the COVID times. And I was like everybody else, I was watching ESPN and watching them talk about this. And it's okay. So I'm at home and we're signing Tom Brady. This is fine. Everything's fine. So, it was so exciting and so depressing all at the same time. So I was thrilled. I mean, of course, how can you not be excited about signing the GOAT? And of course, I couldn't help but be sitting there thinking, wow, if this was literally any other time, I would be there getting to take pictures of the signing and do an interview with him and all this stuff. So it was very bittersweet for sure personally, but for the Buccaneers world, it was nothing but amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it has us excited for sure.
I think you speak for all fans, right? With the whole bittersweet, one of the best days in Buccaneer history, but we don't get to quite enjoy it the same.
And yeah, Casey, I thought by now I would see a video of you eating tacos with Tom Brady and
no, come on. He's this crazy health nut where he eats way healthier.
It could be soy tacos.
Avocado tacos,
Exactly.
Avocado tacos.
Yeah, so I will need to learn to eat healthier to be able to participate in something like that with him, because I'm pretty sure if we ate a meal together, he'd be disgusted by my choices. So I'm gonna have to work on that once COVID is over and we can actually be in the same room.
That would be an awesome segment. All right, so you have Ali Marpet and Donovan Smith, and then you make them eat what Tom eats. God, I'm so good. That would be amazing.
Or make Tom eat what they eat.
I also think that God just smiled on your idea because, no joke, my power has been out for so long and I was sweating because it's hot in here and I didn't have any power, internet, and all that. And my power came on just now the moment that you came up with this idea. So the light literally just shone on this.
Eureka! Sign. That's a sign.
All right. So now you have to take that idea. You have to take that idea to the Bucs. You have to make it.
Yeah, I just want producer credit. That's all I want.
I'm okay with that. And speaking of the tacos, my very big little brother, Donovan Smith, had his first baby, which is super exciting. And I was very proud of the gift that I got for them. I found a onesie. And it says, if you don't like tacos, I'm nacho type.
Oh man, I'm Dad Joe King on this show, and I absolutely appreciate that onesie.
I approve.
That is solid. That is so solid. Speaking of Donovan, you've hosted that Donovan and Ali Marpet show. Is that going to continue on in 2020? And how will it, if it does?
My favorite.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely.
It already we weren't really planning on doing it anyways, but yeah, I definitely think that COVID would have thrown a wrench into that anyways. So it was sort of just a 1 year specialty. We did 1 year the radio show, 1 year the TV show. But then the next year after that, was when Bruce Arians joined the team. And, basically we were looking at TV shows and just thought, yes, we love the Donovan and Ali show. It was wonderful. It was one of the most fun things that I've ever done in my career. But we felt like fans really wanted to hear from Bruce, and so we were going to have a TV show. We felt like that was kind of the one to go with, and we were going to do that again this year because, again, now there's even more and different things to talk to Bruce about. So we're going to have to be more creative with it. I think he's going to be on Zoom in one room and I'm going to be on Zoom in another room. So it still will be very different. And maybe that'll mean we can even try to bring in some other people on Zoom as well. We still haven't figured all of that out yet. But yeah, so it's still going to be the Bruce Arians show this year, but I'm sure that we will still find a way to try to have some Allie and Donovan shenanigans, because that's just a staple that we entered with the Buccaneers at the exact same time as each other. I can't go through a season without some Allie and Donovan shenanigans.
They're one of my favorite video and audio productions you guys have done, probably, I don't know, since I've been a fan since like 1997. That's one of the funnest productions you guys have put together. And I know that what you guys put out there isn't exactly I know it's edited, so like what I need a behind the scenes. I need something that we don't see that's just ridiculously outlandish for this show.
So what's really funny is the Allie and Donovan TV show and radio show were not edited. The radio show was live, so there's no option there, which I always reminded them before we got on air. The TV show, that we knew exactly how long each of the segments was supposed to be, and so I knew that, like, okay, this segment's 8 minutes, and like I'd have them kind of showing me the little timer, and I'd have everything planned out, and we would just go that 8 minutes. Like, I don't remember there being a time ever that we did something and went, oh wait, stop, we should redo that. So yes, there was editing and post to add fun photos or videos or whatever, but in terms of our conversation, you guys witnessed it exactly as it happened, and they never even knew what we were going to do on the show until they sat down there. That was like part of my master plan, is that I would plan everything we were going to talk about and do, and they didn't get to know about it. They just came in and blindly had to follow my lead and trust me that I wasn't going to do something terrible.
That's awesome.
That sounds like our show. We literally planned nothing.
There's zero plan at all. Exactly.
What plan?
Casey, I got a quick question for you. Who are some of like the personalities on the team that we don't get to see that you would love to get your hands on and create and cultivate a show? Like we had Ryan Jensen on. He's an obvious choice. The guy could be in front of a camera doing a cooking show or anything. But who's somebody we don't know about that you would love? Do you think needs the exposure that the fans would love?
That's an interesting one. I think that Mike Edwards and Scotty Miller are one of the funniest tandems.
Wide receiver one.
Wide receiver number one.
Yeah, they're so funny together. They have just the funniest dynamic of where like they each call each other son, and they keep trying to say that they're the father and the other one is the son, but they both are claiming to be father. And then, you know, like Scotty and his fiance just got married recently, and like Mike is a third wheel with them all the time. Like he hangs out with them all the time. They trash talk all the time. Like he's just sort of been like adopted into their duo. And like we went, this was one of my favorite videos I've done in a really long time, and I'm so thankful we snuck it in before COVID. I went to the zoo with the two of them, and we did an episode of The Bay, and Mike was petrified of snakes, like would not go in the building with them. We had to like drag him in, and then he'd like peek around the corner and not want to come into the room. And then like both of them were terrified of the stingrays. Like we were trying to get them to feed them, and they're both like jumping back and splashing and everything, like being so funny. And then we found the face painting station and let each of them pick what the other one's face was going to have to be painted as.
Great.
So you have to go find that episode of The Bay. I think it's on my Instagram down in there, and then it's definitely still on our like Facebook and website and stuff. But
I don't know how I missed that.
It was incredible.
I saw the still image of them with their faces painted, but I didn't know that there was a video that accompanied.
Oh yes,
I am going to find that immediately.
Yeah, it was incredible. We fed a rhinoceros. We did all sorts of stuff at the zoo that day, and both of them were hysterical with it and like giving each other crap for being scared of these different animals, and like they were just such a funny dynamic. I was laughing so hard that whole day. That was the last thing we got in before COVID became a thing. I was very, very thankful for that.
It's kind of weird. We all remember what we did right before COVID. Like, thank God we did that right before COVID. Thank God I went to this party right before COVID. Saw my family. It's been crazy.
Yep.
Casey, you're a huge part of the game day experience. You know, the race cars, the people throwing footballs through the Publix logo, which by the way, I've never got an opportunity, but your boy would kill it.
He'd kill it. We'd all kill it.
what's it going to be like as far as game day experience? And you may not know right now, but with the capacity being cut down so low, the energy, I mean, it was going to be such an exciting year. You know, sellouts and the Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football and all this stuff. So,
yeah, of course, we still are working on a lot of those things right now. Our core game day and events team has just been going insane these last few months, trying to think of every possible scenario of what it could be. And they're working so hard to make sure that it is still the best experience for the fans that get to be in the stadium. From what I've heard so far, it sounds like I will still be doing a lot of those segments still, but I won't be standing there right with the fan, obviously, for it. That I'll be somewhere stationary, and then maybe we'll have a split screen where there's a camera on me and a camera on the fan somewhere else, or maybe the fan is standing, 20 feet away from me or something like that. We're still trying to figure out those ways that they can be as similar as possible. For me, this may be the one silver lining of it all, is that I might get to stand in one spot and under a tent. So that alone may make COVID worth it for me, because normally I get rained on and I'm in the sun and I'm sweating and I'm running all over the place. So this may be the one positive of COVID for me, is being stationary under a tent. But yeah, we're still working on all of that. And I know that our game day team is putting so many hours into making sure that it's still the best possible experience. And I mean, no matter how many fans are in there, I know Bucs fans are going to be able to make themselves heard. They're going to make it sound like there's a lot more that are in there. Those cannons are still going to exist. So there will still be a lot of aspects of game day that we're going to try to make feel as similar as possible.
On that game day stuff that you do, how much of that is you at work and not actually getting to enjoy the game, or is it kind of the best of both worlds? You get chances to watch the game, enjoy it all, or is it strictly I'm here for work and you've got just so much stuff going on that you don't really get to soak in the game?
It can be a little bit of both. I mean, I enjoy both aspects of it, so it's not like any of it is oh, I hate doing this. I enjoy both. But yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's gotten better. We did have to kind of talk about that, because my first few years, there were so many segments and things where I was running all over the place. I'd have a segment on the field, and then I'd have to be up in the Hall of Fame Club, and then I'd have to be over at the other end zone, and then I'd have to be in the stands. And I would spend the whole game running from place to place. And so many of those hits, you don't think about the fact that we don't know when that's going to happen. That it'll say that it's going to be the second break in the first quarter. Well, if they go 3 and out, it's immediately. If they do a 10-minute drive, you're sitting there waiting forever, and then that might back you up into where your next hit is right away. So there's a lot of dynamics there that are really crazy, where you have to sprint to the next one potentially, because if they go 3 and out, you're going to be having to be somewhere completely different in the stadium really quickly. Or you could sprint there and get there and then be standing there for 15, 20 minutes while they go on this long drive. So when we realized the difficulty of me having to be place to place to place, and now almost all of my hits are on the field, that made a world of difference, where there's not as much running around and I can watch more of the game. Because it was tough. I'd go in the locker room after the game to do interviews, and there were times that I was I don't even know what happened that whole quarter. I was supposed to be running around, and I'm supposed to be asking these guys questions. I'm having to look on Twitter and look at our stat sheet to even figure out what happened in some place. I mean, there'd be times I'd look at the score and it'd be tied, and then all of a sudden I'd turn around and we're up by 2 touchdowns, and I'm when did that happen? Yeah. So it's a little bit of both, but it's gotten a lot better now that we've made me mainly on the field.
That sounds like a chaotic experience, but I'd sign up for it any day.
Yeah.
So, we were chatting a little bit before you got on. I don't want to spoil too much, but it sounds like you haven't had a chance to meet Tom Brady yet in person. When do you think that may happen?
I think that I'm going to get to interview him fairly soon, but it will be over Zoom and distance, because there are no in-person interviews allowed. That there's that tier system that you've probably heard about at this point. So I am a tier 3, which is great because it could be worse. I could be non-tiered, or the tiered where it's only the outside access and stuff like that. So tier 3 is as good as someone in my role really kind of could be, but it means that I can't be in person in contact with any of the tier 1 or tier 2 individuals. So yeah, I'm going to be doing all these interviews on Zoom for the foreseeable future. So, I mean, there is a good chance it could be the 2021 season before I meet him in person. which is crazy.
Wild.
It's not exactly how I would have preferred things to go. And so much of my job is building rapport, with players and the team that, because my job is so much more of the personality side than the X's and O's side. That is something I've really been working to figure out, like, how can I still be, plugged in and connected with the guys, building these relationships with the new guys. So yeah, that's a whole other dynamic for me this year. And I wish it was different, but at least everyone's in the same boat. They didn't necessarily all sign the GOAT, but we're all dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, we talked about this several times, me, Stank, and Samber. It could be worse, right? We could be the Patriots who lost the GOAT and lost Gronkowski and have a bunch of players. It could be worse. At least we have stuff to talk about. COVID.
I was going to ask you, Casey, today was the second day of training camp. How does it feel to not be out there? I mean, because you were telling us before that you haven't even been to the facility since the whole thing happened with COVID. So how does it feel that now they're in the second day of camp and you're still not there and you're not able to kind of be a part of that? I mean, obviously we missed not. I mean, we wouldn't be there the second day of camp, but we could go there for those open practices, but we know that's not going to happen. So we've kind of digested that. But how does it feel for you? Second day of camp, you're still not there.
Yeah, it's been really tough. So I've had to miss so many things that are some of my favorite parts of the job. I love rookie mini camp and OTAs and all that off season stuff when you don't kind of have the pressure of the season. So everyone you have football things happening, but it's also where you can just kind of let loose a little bit, have fun, and do a lot of those personality stories. And I always get to go with the rookies when they do a lot of their rookie club events. They go to a cooking class and they go to an etiquette class, and that's where I really learn who they are and their personalities. And that is endlessly entertaining, watching these guys try to cook a 4-course meal and watch them learn to bond with each other. So I've missed a lot of the things that are some of my favorite parts of my job, which have been really tough. And yeah, training camp is honestly one of my favorite times. Again, it's the promise of a whole new season. Everyone is so excited. There's so much hype and energy, and you haven't seen these people in a few months, and it's almost like this big family reunion, and you're all in there these crazy long hours, and a bunch of us staff people are in there, eating breakfast at 7 a.m. before we get ready to go do all stuff. It's such a bonding time. And that's part of why I love working for a team, as compared to maybe an outside outlet where you really do feel part of the Buccaneer family during training camp, and it's you have the whole season ahead of you. Thankfully, I will get to start going out there really soon. I have officially passed all my COVID tests, and so I'm clear to start going in. The things you get excited about these days,
Right.
So I'm officially cleared to go back. And I'm going to start going back to do some of those Zoom interviews in a couple days. I'll start doing those regular bucs beats again from out on the field. And then once the padded practices start, Scott Smith and I are going to have a training camp live show because we know how much it sucks for fans if they won't get a chance to be out there. So we're doing the best we can from where we're allowed to be, what we're allowed to show, all that stuff. We're figuring all that out, but they are creating a spot for he and I to be socially distanced from each other, from the team, and still be showing you guys some live stuff of camp. So yeah, we're going to be releasing that schedule hopefully pretty soon of training camp live. So I won't miss all of it. It just will be a little bit further away than I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Casey, I got to say, everything that you just talked about, your episodes with the rookies and the cooking school, that's one of the things I love so much about following the team. And we do it kind of vicariously through you and through Scott and through Carmen and all of you guys who get the access that we don't get. We love it as much as you do. Seriously, I'm going to miss seeing that stuff. What you described to me sounds like camp, like being around these guys and eating in the cafeteria with them and kind of getting the bond before the pressure of the season starts. I can feel that. I can feel how awesome that would be. That is kind of probably where you build some of these relationships that you have with the players that we see come through the camera. So although we'll miss it with you, whatever you put out, we're going to eat it up. We can't. I can't wait.
Oh, starving for buck stuff.
Starving.
Little things.
It is kind of nice. I feel like the bar will be really low for anything I do because everyone's so desperate for it that I think that I could probably just take a photo of the players so far away that they're the size of ants, and it would just be look, there's football, and everyone would be so excited. We're at that point now, and I know that we're going to do everything we can to get everyone the content because I know how I have felt in quarantine where like I was just desperate for any sports, anything, much less about the team that you love. So I promise, as much as we have rules on us, we're going to do everything we can to still supply that. And I'm so thankful for things like Zoom and all of that. I mean, if this had happened in a different technology era, I just don't know what we would do. So I'm very thankful that I have still been able to do my job. I mean, back in March, I was like, I don't even know how this is going to work. And we figured it out.
You know, you mentioned you could put out a picture of the players being this big far away. You know, we were actively watching media outlets do that this morning. You know, video of players looking this big. Oh, look, let me pause it. And there's Mike Evans. Okay, there's Tommy throwing to Mike Evans, and just people eating up. I was eating up, but it's the little things like in life about camp, like you said. One of my favorite things is the fresh cut grass. Do right in the morning, walk out right before the players come out. Sun's coming up. It just feels like football.
Christian, do you have a poem that you're going to recite for us? I feel like a poem's coming.
I'm about to. That was a great beginning. I
felt like it, bro.
Yeah, man. I was like,
quarantine has made us all very introspective. You know, we've all gotten very philosophical, very poetical. You know, that I totally get it. You know, we're all right there. We're in the Beatles.
Yeah, Stank put out a tweet earlier today about all the media members that have been allowed in today to participate in training camp and see it, and how the perspective of what they do for a living must now be completely different, just from the appreciation standpoint of, I get to cover a team, I get, they're playing a game, and I get paid to go hang out and report on it. And, you take it for granted being able to, rub elbows with players and, like you're saying, cultivate those relationships. And now when you're removed from it, you're like, man, I really miss this. And you kind of gain a different appreciation for it. And we gain appreciation for what you guys do, not having those things on our timeline, not having those videos on YouTube, or, all these different things that you guys produce, and not having that, we appreciate what you guys do way more. And I'm sure from where you're sitting, it's even more impactful on you than it is on us.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about that during this time, actually, that you never know when a certain season of your life is going to be over. And I thought about, man, like I can't imagine if for whatever reason this ended up being my last year. Like, I don't want it to be, and I hope the Bucs don't want it to be, but I thought, oh my gosh, like, you never know in the NFL, especially with the players. I mean, it's such a transient league. You never know, when it's your last this or last that. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, what if it was like I had my last game where Raymond James was full? What if I had my last training camp that was normal? What if I had my last in-person interview with any of these guys? And how much that would make me so sad. And I've always tried to appreciate it. And I remember I had this conversation with MJ, one of our strength and conditioning coaches, that when she was first starting and it was about to be her first NFL game that she was working last year. And I told her, I said, look, you're going to be busy. You're going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to do your job. Take a moment. Like, make sure that there's some moment where you stop and appreciate where you are, you're living your dream, you've gotten where you wanted to be. And that's always something I try to do. That for me, that moment is when I walk out of the tunnel on game day, whether it's home game or a road game. The first time I walk out of the tunnel and on the field, I force myself to have a moment of like, this is incredible. Like, if 12-year-old me could see where I am right now, and how many people would give so much money to be where I am, and to never take that for granted, like what I get to do. So I would like to think I already was doing a fairly good job of living in the moment and doing all of that. But I think that this time in COVID has made it go even further of like, now any little thing I'm going to get to do, I'm just going to soak it all in and make sure that I don't take it for granted, because you just never know when it's going to be over. That I'm still in the same job, but somehow all these things ended, at least for a time.
I'd be willing to dip one of my wings in a gigantic gallon of ranch just to run out that tunnel, and experience what you just described. I don't know if you know much about our show, but
you have to ask the question.
All right. Well,
no pressure, Casey. No pressure.
All right.
Now we're going to interview you.
Now we're really going to get into the meat and potatoes of what we do on this show. All right, the real stuff.
This is really about.
This is what people tune into us for. This is what they want to know. All right, so it's a 2-part question too, and this is a big deal. Like, you cannot miss these. You cannot miss these. We asked Carmen these questions. Carmen got a medical exemption on one of them.
She did.
All right, she answered the other one kind of, with a little dirt cutter approach, but we let that one slide too. So,
which, by the way, Sammer, Casey is very qualified for this after doing the Donovan and Allie show.
Yeah,
they did plenty of food hits, so
uniquely qualified. I agree.
All right, so question number 1. When you're having wings, are you going? I mean, obviously you can like both sides of this, but which one was your preference? Soaking wet or dry rub?
Ooh, yeah, I go for the wet wings. I want all the sauce, just all the sauce.
Absolutely. Perfect. That's a beautiful answer.
If I don't have to use an entire roll of paper towels to get my hands clean at the end, something's wrong.
Oh my God.
I knew her palate is refined.
Absolutely.
It's with Donovan and Allie.
Nobody wants to leave all sticky and like.
No.
That's what they give me.
If I don't taste the wings on my hands hours later, like at a movie theater or whatever I'm doing later, I didn't have good wings.
You can
End of story.
Taste the dry rub.
No, get out of here. No, dry rub. Might as well just pour dust down my throat, dude. Come on, get out of here, dry rub.
More important question.
All right. Now, when you're enjoying your wings covered in sauce, are you dipping them in ranch or blue cheese?
Neither.
Ooh.
Hey, that's okay.
Wow, she's a naturalist.
Purist. I am
purist.
Purist.
Well, what if you had to dip them? I'm saying, which one would you prefer?
So I also have, I'm wondering if this is where Carmen's medical exemption came in and where I will also be doing that. I can't do dairy. So
medically exempt.
There it is.
Exempt.
The whole Buccaneers staff is medically exempt.
I know, it's so terrible. It's a struggle. But even if I wasn't, I don't think I would dip because I am very much like, if it was supposed to be ranch flavored, it would just already be ranch. Like if I'm getting a barbecue wing, I want to taste the barbecue.
Absolutely.
Complicate things.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
I really like that answer. I like it.
That's a good answer.
I'm also the person that I don't want my food to touch. Like I miss
segregation
when it was
of food.
Yeah, like when I was a kid and you get the separated plates. Like I don't know what age that stops being okay, but I'm really sad that there is an age limit on it. Because I still want my like plastic clown plate from a kid that had the dividers on it. Because like when stuff touches, I'm like, no, it's contaminating the thing around it. Like,
Casey, they have those at Walmart. All right, they sell them in 3-packs. They come in a bowl. They come with a bowl. They come with utensils, and they come with 3 trays.
Like they're beautiful with like a upgraded version of those plates for adults.
Exactly.
It could be a side hustle for you, like the Martha Stewart, the Casey Phillips brand, like a Martha Stewart brand, Casey Phillips brand. Your green bean juice won't soak into your cornbread. I like it. It's perfect.
Exactly. That's what I need. Is the
you don't search for the perfect bite. It's one bite of and then one bite of, because I got to go for the perfect bite. I got to like pick a couple things. And then,
now it depends what it is. There's certain things like rice and beans, like things that like are supposed to go together. Sure, like I get that, but yeah, no, I'm weird. I eat all of one thing and then I move to the next thing and the next thing. I don't go even back and forth. I eat all of what I wanted this and then all I wanted this, and then even in my mouth, there's no contamination of the flavors. I get all. I'm a purist.
You probably have the cleanest looking plates at like a Chinese buffet place.
Yeah.
They're never. You seen those dudes that like come back from they got 2 plates and it's just like a hodgepodge of everything. It's just a stew of just all of it.
Like I either have to have like 1,000 plates so that or I only get a few things and make 1,000 trips back to the buffet. And this is actually like my heart was so happy when I started working for the Bucs, because we get to eat in the team dining hall, which is incredible, and not all teams is that a thing. So we are super lucky that that's.
I ate there once. It was.
I did too. Their plates are huge.
So that's what I was going to say. The plate is huge. So for me, it's wonderful because I can have all this food that doesn't touch because the plate is like this big. It's so great.
You pay attention to the colors? Like, okay, I got to stay green or red because the colors are associated with players like on specific diets. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You pay attention to the colors or you just go?
let's be real. I look at them and then I just decide how bad I'm going to feel about myself. Like, it never keeps me from getting what I want. I'm just like, oh, that was a whole plate of red.
Christian, elaborate on that because a lot of fans have no idea.
Okay, yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Let Casey do it.
Let Casey do it.
So it was something they put in a few years ago that the team nutritionist kind of helps with and the kitchen staff all help with. There's a traffic light system for all the food. So they have a whole buffet lined up, and above every single thing on the buffet, there's a little card, and it either has red, yellow, or green on it, and then also it says what it is, and it has some of the nutrition facts on it, and then it tells you even like what it's good for. Like, this is, like good carbs are good for, recovery, or, whatever, like energy this, or protein for muscle building, like all these different things that it might be good for. So green is like, this is super healthy, awesome, eat tons of this. Yellow is like, it's not necessarily like terrible for you or amazing for you, it's fine. Red is like, maybe not the best choice that you could make. Still okay. Like, they're not going to serve anything in there that's like bad for you, which we're a little sad about, because we're like, look, I'm not having to play in an NFL game on Sunday. Like,
why can't I have a cheesecake?
Exactly.
I get it.
So, red.
Yeah, what color is the Krispy Kreme card?
That's the thing. I don't even think they have a color for like some of the things that I like to eat. That like their version of red, I'm like, that's still pretty healthy in my book. So yeah, we need like a black color that's just like, this is death. Like you.
I agree.
It should just be a black background with little New Orleans Saints logos just kind of tiled on there.
So I think we're on the same page, right, Stank? Right, Sam? Like, if we got to eat there every day, we would look like OJ Howard or something.
Dude, I'd be going right down the offensive lineman diet plan. I'd be right behind Ryan. I'd be right behind Ryan.
Howard. Nobody on the less than 1% of the people on the human Earth. On human Earth look like OJ Howard.
Oh,
Jordan Whitehead.
Yeah, the two of them are it's absurd. And it's funny because I have a couple photos that I've taken standing next to OJ, and inevitably, whenever I post one of those, the comments are hilarious. Everyone's like, "Wait, how tall are you? And like, how much do you weigh?" Because I look like a child, and like he makes anyone look small. And I'm even seeing him next to our offensive lineman. I'm like, he like fits in. Like, he doesn't, like, most people standing next to offensive linemen look like children. OJ stands next to him and you're like, yep, that seems about right. Like,
OJ looks huge without pads. That's what the most striking thing when we first saw him. I was like, that dude is that big without pads? What?
Crazy. He's huge. And the same Jordan Whitehead, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, he's a shorter guy and like doesn't necessarily weigh as much as a lot of people, so he's not gonna have that physically imposing look that OJ has. That dude, pound for pound, is the strongest dude you've ever seen. And I even asked our strength and conditioning staff this once. I was like, pound for pound on the team. Like, there's the whole who lifts the most, which is like Vita can squat like an ungodly amount of weight, like, but pound for pound. And they said Jordan Whitehead, like that guy, it's nuts. And it kind of makes sense because Anthony Paroli, our head strength and conditioning coach, actually trained him when he was in high school. That they're both from like that same area. So him and I believe also Justin Watson, both of those guys being from up there in like Pennsylvania area, that they got trained by Paroli way back then. So he likes to take credit for the fact that now they're like, Justin is one of the stronger wide receivers and like stronger skill position guys. And then Jordan is like pound for pound the strongest guy. He's like, yep, that would be what happens when you train with me in high school.
Was that the case before he added the Mike Pittman arm upgrade that we just saw yesterday?
Right. Yeah, this was a year ago that we were having this conversation. So you can only imagine now that he's had nothing to do but work out since COVID started.
Yeah, he looks like he didn't waste a single second. Like, he didn't even eat. Maybe protein and just nonstop gym time. Dude looks ridiculous. He's jacked.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what I've done the last 5 months, and it didn't seem to have the same effect. I need to talk to him about what he's doing, because I feel like all I've done is lift and it's just not the same.
I've eaten a lot of protein.
Dumbbells in my background, and I think it's fault of advertising because I just like stress eat the whole time.
I've never seen you use those, not even once, but that's okay. It's just from us.
No,
one of my friends actually delivered to Jordan Whitehead at UPS. He delivered like 7 straight days. It was nothing but weights. He's like, dude, what are you building here, bro? Like, I'm tired of delivering weights to your house. But
now we know why they're all sold out. I haven't been able to find a weight to buy in forever. Now we know it's because Jordan Whitehead bought them all.
Not just weight, any kind of gym equipment, bikes, anything.
Dude, we saw those photos yesterday, his arms, and he shot right to the top of the Mr. Becks 2020 competition. It's just like, what?
It did.
It looks ridiculous.
When you get a chance to get back in the building, you got to ask the strength and conditioning coach, because now I want to know. You said Vita can squat out of the world, right? Probably the biggest in squatting. But we got a rookie this year. Here's the worst. They can jump out of pools. Now I gotta know. And Vita's one of my favorite players, but I gotta know who can squat more. We when you get some time, just shoot us a little tweet. Let us know.
Yeah, I think that will be an interesting thing to find out. The problem is like they never really like max out like what you picture. Like the gym bros, like, all right, what can we do for 1 rep? Like they don't train like that. So when I've tried to ask those specific like, what is the max they could squat, or who could squat more than who, like they never have an exact answer for me because they don't make the guys do those 1 pound 1 rep maxes. So I don't know that I will get quite as clear of an answer as you guys may be wanting, but I will do my best to see like, okay, well, how many reps did they each do this weight at? So we can see if we can try to figure something out.
No, that's what we need. And we need who's the fastest on the team, who can lift the most. You could set up a competition in the off season. Like I doubt that anybody would officially do it, but I'd love to see that. Who do you think is the fastest on the team, Casey? And why is it Scotty Miller? Go ahead.
That was. I mean, look, that's what I was going to say. And I think when you say fastest too, like, do you mean first 10 yards? Do you mean in a 60-yard? Do you mean like? I think that you get some potentially different answers on some of that. But I think Scotty Miller would be up there on pretty much all of it. Madden ratings, agreed. He was the fastest on our team for the Madden ratings, although obviously their ratings literally squat when they don't rate Levante David higher. Yeah, we could vent about those forever and ever. But I feel like it has to be Scotty Miller. Like he is stupid fast. Stupid fast.
Christian, you mentioned doing the squats, and you only mentioned 2 players, and I'm a little disrespected on behalf of my friend Matt Gay and
Matt, I'm so sorry.
All right, and Blaine Gabbert. I mean, those guys both have ridiculous legs, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Their thighs are ridiculous.
Blaine Gabbert, I mean, his thighs are something to look at, bro. Holy shit!
Isn't that size? Is it just Blaine's size?
Oh my god!
Casey, I don't know if you know, but Matt Gay is he's our 4th member of this podcast.
Hall of Famer. You got to say Hall of Famer, Matt Gay.
Hall of Fame, Matt Gay.
He's
Come on.
An official member. We love you, Matt. And I'm sure, he deserves his own segment. I think we would all agree with Casey. Kicking footballs over mountains, something like that. You never know. Be a cool segment.
I would agree with that. I'm totally down. I hope it doesn't involve me trying to kick anything, because that is where my skill set is. I have endless hand-eye coordination and no foot-eye coordination. That somehow it all goes to here, and then that was it. It just stops. And I actually struck out in kickball when I was younger, which I didn't know was possible. It's real bad. So I'm like,
don't they just roll it to you? It like rolls all soft and slow.
Yes. Oh, I kicked it every time. Could not get it to go in the it was foul ball every time. And I finally after 7 or 8 of them, they were like, all right, you're out. That's it. We quit.
If Matt's training you though, that's like taking golf lessons with Tiger Woods. I mean, you'd be a pro. You'd be at least better than half the kickers in the league.
So we saw you in the jug machine. I think it was OJ or somebody.
Yep, with OJ.
Matt
yes.
You the pointers, and you'd be kicking 50-yarders in no time.
Yeah, no problem.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll just go with that. We'll have him try. But yes,
we want to see you struggle, Casey.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's nothing like having video live forever of you looking like an idiot. Funny story about that.
That's what I live for.
One. Somebody did that with my jugs machine video, where someone just cut out the ones where I didn't catch it, and made that this Instagram video and put it up and was like, was this a Make-A-Wish kid? And like, it like went viral. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I actually did really well. Like, to the point where I remember, like, I think Dirk was our coach at that point. And
that's so fucking good.
Dirk stopped me in the hallway and he was like, hey, like, I saw you out there. Like, you were doing really well. Like, I did really well. I only caught a few of, like, I only missed a few of them. But someone took all the misses and just posted that. And I didn't even until, like, friends of mine were sending it to me and they were like, is this you? I was so mad. I was like, come on. Like, I did so good. And they only showed the misses.
You mentioned earlier that you did that show with Bruce last year. You got to have some cool just behind the scenes story or interaction that you've had with Bruce that just, because we've always heard he's the coolest coach in the NFL. All the players, he's a fucking cool coach. He's Coach BA, you know. Give me something that you've experienced personally with this guy that just speaks to that legend that everyone has about him.
You know, our show, we have almost no downtime with that show. So, like, I don't actually interact with him a ton around that show. Like, because he's, like, his schedule is nuts. Like, we shoot it the day after the game, and he's going thing to thing, like, trying to get the film watched, get practice figured out. Like, so we try to make it as fast as possible for him. So, literally, he walks in, sits down, puts his mic on, and we go. And, like, we do a segment, and then, you know, I'll say, like, you know, we'll be right back after this. We pause and it's like, and we're back here on the Bruce Arians show. Like, there's no downtime at all in that. But just even in like the interactions in hallways, you know, wherever, like, he really is. It's so hard to explain. I don't know that there's a story I could specifically say, but I'm like, I wish that I had his swag. Like, I would give anything. He's walking down the hallway and he'll just like, I remember there was a day he even like, he calls a lot of people baby as this like term of endearment, like guys, girls, like whoever, like that's like his thing. Like, and I remember like early on when he first, you know, got there and I'd gotten to meet him a few times and talk to him and we're walking down the hall and he just, you know, like, hey baby, like just talking. And I was just like, I've made it.
You made it.
I made it. Like it was so funny how cool I felt that like he said this to me.
I want Bruce to call me baby.
Call me baby.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'll call you guys baby.
Most people doing that, I would be like, I don't know about this. Not sure that this is really what I want. But like here, I'd heard him already call it like all these other people, and like realized for him it was very much this like term of endearment. And I seriously, when he called me that, I was just like, all right, that's it. I've made it. I'm in. I'm good. This is all I needed. I just feel like he transferred some swag onto me, and I've been bestowed, like, you've been knighted, you know, like Sir Swag a lot. And I was like, this is great. I'm such a fan.
Casey, you think you're going to get to travel with the team this year?
My boss and I were just talking about that the other day. I don't think so. We haven't, again, there's so much that's just been in flux and so much can change. Like trying to say what will or won't happen, you know, more than 24 hours from now is almost impossible. But probably not, simply because I can't imagine I'd be allowed on the team plane when I'm not allowed to be like around players. Like we have to keep that separation. So that would mean I would have to fly commercial, which A is more money, and then B opens you up to being exposed, you know, to all these other people. And then that risks you testing positive, having to miss a few weeks. So like, is the risk worth it? When again, I'm probably not going to be allowed on the field, and like, I'm not allowed to do interviews with them in person in the locker room. It's like, what would be the point, you know, in so many ways. So, that was kind of what we were discussing. So unless there was some real big reason or way that they have it figured out somehow, or like if there was a second team plane or something that for the people that are tier 3, but I can't imagine that that's how things are going to go. So probably not, which will be the first time I haven't traveled, you know, and my entire time in the NFL, I've always traveled, even when I was with the Rams. I've never watched my team play on TV. Like,
well, you're invited.
That's awesome.
Coming over to our watch parties, you're invited. On the party, we'll have a bunch of wings that are sauced.
Yeah, there's two rules at our parties.
No ranch with it.
You will never find ranch, and you will never find a dry rub wing anywhere near us.
Lies.
We'll have dry rub wings, but they're outside on my pool deck.
Yeah, yeah.
Not inside with the specific stuff.
Next to where like all the like bowls of dog food are. We'll leave them out there.
Okay, so yeah. I have to dispute something you said earlier. You said that you have pretty good hand-eye coordination, but your foot coordination isn't quite there. And we have sources, Casey. We know you're a hooper. We know you can hoop. So you do have some foot coordination there, with the crossover stuff. I know you can hoop, so I got a question for you. I know the best probably on the team, besides Dot before, he's not on the team anymore, it's probably Mike Evans. So if you had to play a game of 2-on-2, who would you take with you to play against Mike Evans and somebody else?
I like this question.
That's
man.
Best question I've ever heard.
She's a hooper. She is a hooper.
That's a good question.
First of all, I would like to know how you know that. Who are your sources? I'm very impressed. So
Christian's coming for your job.
I would say probably Gronk, because I've seen him posting on social, and I feel like at least physically he could match up with Mike. Like, I'm hoping that Mike picks someone a little more Scotty Miller size for me to be able to guard. And then Gronk and Mike can go battle it out down there more down low. Because look, I am a hooper, but let's be real, ups, not my thing. Like, I'm not getting a lot of rebounds. I'm gonna get you all the hustle points. I'm gonna be scrappy. I'm gonna be getting in there for that, but I'm not gonna be the one banging around the boards. It's just not happening. So I need someone on my team who's not afraid to get in there, get some rebounds, get some of those garbage putback points, and then I can just be standing out there ready for the kick out whenever they need me.
So you're gonna play that old man OG game where you just pivot, you never actually leave your feet. Well, what if Mike Evans chooses OJ Howard though?
I was thinking the same thing. Wow.
That would be pretty hard.
Well, in that case, I'm going to be Steph Curry, and I'm just going to shoot threes from way the heck out there and either draw them, they're either going to have to come out and deal with me there, in which case I would like to think that my quickness could get there. And heck, they're so much taller than me, I could probably nutmeg them right through the legs if I needed to.
I was going to say, just go underneath.
Yeah, just sneak underneath there.
Steph Curry makes me know she's got a jump shot, ladies and gentlemen.
There may or may not be some photographic evidence of this on my Instagram somewhere. There's a fun little game to go try and find it. And actually on the photo of it, Sean Murphy Bunting commented that he felt like he wanted to play me in horse because he could tell I had a jump shot. So again, a thing that COVID took away is that we had planned to do a game of horse.
Oh. Dang.
Luckily for you, I think Sean Murphy Bunting's going to be here for a while. That kid.
We got some time.
Yeah, that kid looks like he's figured it out. And I remember before the season, hopes were high at camp. He was all over the place. Started off a little slow, ended up really finding himself towards the end of the season. So I know Sean's going to be here. Hopefully.
Yeah, he's awesome, and I love him. He's got such a great personality, such a great heart. That guy, as soon as we signed him, and again, one of those, going on all those rookie things, I really quickly get a sense for who these guys are. And day one, I was like, please let this kid be good, because he's so much fun and so nice. He's super special, and I loved watching him and Jamel grow last year. What a difference. And, they just showed so much promise and growth. For a guy to come in and figure out what isn't working and then work their butts off to fix it, to have that much improvement in such a short time span. And so much of the NFL is learning how to prepare. It's learning how to watch film. It's why guys like Luke Kuechly just got to be famous for essentially what they knew. And that's the kind of stuff that Jamel figured out, was how to watch tape, how to prepare. And it was like a light bulb just clicked, and all of a sudden he was good to go.
Yeah, I would usually ask, which rookie are you most excited to see come in and work and develop? But you haven't really had much interaction with those guys, if any. So my question is going to kind of morph into the guys that you knew last year as rookies and now are second-year guys. Who are you most excited, just from knowing their personality, the guys who are hard workers, the guys who take their job seriously and aren't there just to have fun? Which of those guys, second-year guys, are you most excited to see blossom, and who do you think actually will blossom?
Yeah, man, that's a good one. There are a lot of options, which I think is a great sign. The easy ones, of course, are Jamel and Sean Murphy Bunting, because we saw they were already doing that at the end of the year. So, why would it not just continue to go that way? And then Devin, of course, because I felt like it was so rough for him starting out with a bit of that knee injury early on. And it just really, and last year was so tough schedule-wise. I cannot tell you. I think it took 5 years off my life, and I wasn't even have to play. so many like nights landing at 4 a.m. and losing sleep in the London and all, like it was just brutal. And so for him to like be dealing with all that and have been injured and it be his rookie year, like not an ideal scenario. So yeah, I think he's someone that just to be able to stay healthy would be, he could really explode. And then of course you have Scotty Miller, who we've seen that Tom Brady knows how to use guys like him. I mean, that's
wide receiver 1.
Yeah, that's his. I don't know if I go quite that far.
I famously predicted. I famously predicted on Twitter. I'm going to stand by it because exactly what you said. Tom Brady is known for grooming guys like Scotty. So
Ryan Jensen said it on the show. Tommy likes Scotty a lot.
He does. You can tell.
He loved Randy Moss.
Yeah, he's. If you go based off Tom's Instagram, I feel like Scotty Miller is a good fantasy pickup right there. And then like, if I have to go
with all the wide receivers, when he tagged them all, he listed Scotty number 1.
He listed Scotty first.
It was Scotty, then Mike Evans. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Mike may have something to say about this wide receiver 1 thing.
Thank you.
I mean, not like he's, competitive or anything. Like Mike really, not a competitive guy. If I had to pick a dark horse candidate for someone to potentially surprise fans with their contribution for a second-year guy, it might be Anthony Nelson. If you look at the fact that we didn't use free agency or draft picks on, pass rushers as much, like that to me signals when you've lost Carl Nassib and you didn't immediately replace him from outside, that to me says they think that Anthony Nelson now, after, again, someone who it sucked that he wasn't healthy the whole year, that if he could be healthy, I feel like that's someone that they must think highly of to not have done more in the offseason to replace a Carl Nassib or something like that. And again, JPP, although he seems like he'll be like Tom Brady and be able to play at a high level forever, you do still have to wonder, like, he is getting, older, he's had some injuries and stuff. For them to not do more to bring more guys from outside in, I think Anthony Nelson could end up having a bigger role this year. And he's someone that Tristan works, like they play together, they know each other really well, they've been working out together. Tristan has spoken really highly of him and what it was like to go against him. So if Tristan, who we think is that good of a tackle, thinks that highly of Anthony Nelson, again, I feel like that can only be a good sign.
It was hard to tell him and Nassib apart, at least from body type. They look like identical body clones of each other. But Nassib was sneaky good, which is why he earned that contract he did in the offseason. That was good to play for John Gruden now. But I agree, that was an interesting thing. We didn't draft anybody to replace Nassib. And who knows with Bowles, though. Bowles could line up safeties at defensive end. He loves safeties. He'll put them anywhere on the field.
Yeah, I think that you will probably see guys, whether it's, Antoine Winfield, Jordan Whitehead, Devin White, like they're going to start using guys from all over the place to bring some pressure. And I think that's something that Bowles loves. He loves using people in either unconventional ways or different ways or surprising ways. Like he doesn't want to be predictable. And he doesn't want the defense to be hard for guys to learn, but he wants it to be hard for the offense to deal with. And that's a unique ability of a coordinator. Because that's what happens so often in this league is that, like, so often I think coordinators and coaches can almost out chess match themselves, that they get so into trying to come up with new and different creative things that then their own defense isn't getting to play instinctual. They're thinking too much. And there's, especially for rookies, and especially in a year like this when you didn't get the proper, normal amount of reps and preparation and everything, that Bowles is really going to get a chance to shine up where he can say, we're going to be creative, but not in a way that is too hard for them to pick up and where they can very quickly start, being instinctual and not reactionary.
It was the beauty of our famed Tampa 2 defense, right? It was a simple defense, but just do your job. It wasn't complicated. Just do your job. But
Monty would bring, Rondé, who had a knack for getting to the quarterback. He kind of defined that nickel, position and was able to do a lot of things. And sometimes guys just have that ability. Not to knock Noah Spence, but you got a guy who's freakish but just couldn't seem to get there. And then you have corners or safeties that know how to get to the quarterback, have that leverage, have that ability, maybe just that football IQ that gets them in the right place at the right time. And You brought up Antoine Winfield Jr. We're all very big on him on this podcast, and the guy seems to have a hell of a football IQ. I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, he's awesome. And actually, you guys brought up you weren't sure how much I've been able to, get to know the rookies yet or anything. I didn't get to do it the normal way, and so I decided I was just going to FaceTime each of them individually to still try to get to know them. So I've talked to every rookie except for one. I think at this point, I've gone through all of them except I got one left. But they're a great group. They are an awesome group. They're all individually doing everything they can, this whole time to be ready. I was really impressed with the maturity level of, guys even taking it upon themselves to do Zooms with each other outside of the, scheduled programming, that when the coaches would have their time talking with them, or, the strength and conditioning staff. But I know all the rookie O linemen were Zooming with each other, FaceTiming with each other basically every day to just go over the playbook, talk about stuff and I'm like, that's incredible for these rookies to be going so above and beyond, to recognize, hey, we're coming in here in a tough situation. What can we do? So yeah, they're a great group, and Antoine Winfield Jr. is a great guy, awesome personality. I can tell he's going to be a guy that gets along really well with everyone back there. I just think all these rookies seem like they're going to have really great chemistry with these vets once they get in there. They're all humble, but hungry, and I think that's such a cool combination that none of them seemed like guys that are going to be locker room problems or divas or any of that. They were all humble, but all of them also, every time I would talk to them and I'd ask them, man, what's this been like for you? How do you feel? How ready do you feel? They were always like, I just want to get going. I cannot wait to get in there and get going. They were just itching, let me out, let me get started working. So yeah, I think they're a great group.
That's something that I've noticed specifically since Bruce became the head coach of this team, and he's obviously had influence in the draft room and in free agency, is that he seems to have the knack for finding guys who are leaders, guys who had that C on their chest in college, because those guys tend to, again, lead by example, sometimes verbally, but also take their job seriously, so that there's a accountability there, there's a respectability, there's a responsibility there, that these guys take things or don't take things for granted. And Jamel Dean showed that last year. He took his lumps, and instead of, putting his head between his legs, he basically went in and got with Todd Bowles and worked on it. And Sean Murphy Bunting, he started out slow. Devin White started out slow. All of these rookies, even Matt Gay, hit a little bit of a slump, and then he found his way back up. A lot of that has to be from just, I think, Bruce's ability to find guys who take football seriously, know how to have fun, obviously, but take it seriously enough to where they don't need to be babysat. And too often, as Bucs fans, we've seen so much of that, where we've seen these guys with so much potential and they just don't take it serious enough. They don't put in the work. And that's what gets me so excited is, and what you just said, that speaks to it. These guys don't take this for granted. They take this as a job. They understand that we've got Tom Brady here. We have to make sure we do our job, because if we don't, someone in our room is going to tell us. And if they don't, Tom's going to tell us. That's what, it has to be something like that. That's what I feel. It's got to be something related to, and again, it comes from within you as well. So that's the coolest thing that I've noticed with Bruce coming on this team. We all love that part of it. It's something that's kind of been missing here, the culture of it all. And that's just going to cultivate and grow for years and years, because then the accountability comes from the locker room and not from the coaches, not from the meeting rooms with the coaches. It comes from the players around them. And that's what builds championship programs for, the long haul, which is super exciting.
Yeah. And I think that Bruce and Jason both are great about this. And I've been here, my whole tenure here has been with Jason Light as the general manager. And I love that he prioritizes the person in addition to the player. And I think that there's a lot of people that are sort of the, old school or traditional football fan that are like, I don't care who he is as long as he's good at football. And it's like, okay, yeah, I kind of get that to a degree, but I don't think people realize how much it does matter. Who you are in the meeting rooms, who you are in the locker room, who you are on the practice field. I don't care how talented you are. If you're a cancer in that locker room, it will affect guys, and especially incoming rookies who are trying to learn what it means to be a pro, and they're looking for role models. It matters. And I think that Jason Light and Bruce both have been really good about prioritizing guys that, like I said, will take it seriously, are good guys off the field, are, you know, going to be leadership roles. I mean, they have done such a great job of that. And I've seen it affects the whole locker room overall, to where even I feel it, that I have been going into professional locker rooms for, let me do math in a way that I haven't done in a while, 15 years. Because I started doing my first internships when I was in high school. So I've been in a lot of them now, and I've covered baseball and hockey and basketball and football. Like, for me, it is incredible how quickly, when I walk into a locker room, I can tell the dynamics and the character and the integrity and just what it's about and the vibes. And a lot of times it affects how comfortable I end up being in a locker room and how I end up getting treated. And my 5 years here with the Buccaneers have been the best of my whole broadcast career in terms of how I am treated, you know, the interactions that I have with the players, what I see them do. I mean, there has not been one guy where I've been like, oh man, I don't want to have to talk to him, or I don't want to have to, you know, be around him in this area. Like, it is, I've never felt uncomfortable. I've never felt disrespected. These guys are incredible. And it really, as much as you kind of think, oh, that doesn't matter, it does. It really, it is. It's contagious, and it can contaminate otherwise really high potential players if they don't learn how to be, you know, a man and a pro and an athlete in the right way.
It's funny because one of the scariest looking guys in that locker room is probably one of the nicest ones that you've interacted with. And I've seen the live shows and the Zoom calls and stuff. And Damakong Su, like, when that guy doesn't open his mouth, you're like, I don't know if I want to. No, I'm good. I'm just going to skip that locker. And he's so cool and just down to earth. At least that's how it comes across when you guys do your Zoom calls with the defensive line. And they call him, is it Big Mama? They call it Big Mama?
Big girl.
Big girl.
Big girl.
Big girl.
What is the deal with that? What does it do with Big Girl?
I do think that Vita Vea is probably the only person on this planet that could get away with calling him that. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to the average person walking down the street. But no,
good advice.
I have been around, you know, athletes for a long time, and I remember the times early in my career, you know, the first times you're around a 7-footer in the NBA or a 300+ you know, pounder offensive lineman in the NFL, and those first moments of like, oh God, this is a large human, like, and the feelings of, and certain guys who do look, you know, a little harder, a little whatever, like the vibes they're giving off, like there are those times you're kind of like, oh God, you know, it's been a long time since I've felt that way very much. Like, I got over that pretty quickly in my career, and I don't think about it anymore. But they're the rare moments that I find myself doing that. And when we signed him, that was one of them that I was like, okay, this is a tough dude right here. And I remember the first time I met him was, we do the chamber luncheon every year. It's like, it'll be Brian Glazer and our GM and our coach, and then like 4 of our like biggest name players and me, and we do a roundtable discussion for like the Tampa, St. Pete, and Clearwater like chambers of commerce, and about, you know, business people, politicians, you know, sort of who's who of Tampa in a lot of ways. But that was the first time I met him. Is we're doing this roundtable, and he comes walking in there, and I all of a sudden got really self-conscious about what to call him, because you refer to him as Sue, but somehow that felt weird to say to his face. I don't know why. To just be like, hi, Sue. Like, it just, I don't know why. It felt weird. And then I was like, but then I got self-conscious about like, am I saying Ndamukong right? Like, I know I've heard it a million times, but then you hear people say it a bunch of different ways, and I was like, I can't say this wrong the first time I meet him. Like, that would be awful. I was like sweating about what to call him, and I didn't even want to ask him. It was like any other player, I was like, hey man, what do you want me to call you? But somehow with him, I was like, and I found myself laughing at myself. I was like, get it together, woman. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, he does give off that vibe. And then he's so nice. He is interested in so many things. I mean, Warren Buffett is his mentor. Like, he's just such a cool dude, and like such a unique individual. And his now wife is great. I love her. And I mean, it's just such a great reminder of like not judging a book by its cover. And that's happened to me so many times in my career. It's one of my favorite things about my job is how often I'm around people that come from such different backgrounds from me, don't look or sound anything like me, and that a lot of people would make snap judgments about based on how they look. Mike Evans, great example. We come from very different paths, very different backgrounds. He's gone through so many different things, and here he is, this massive dude, tatted up, you know, another guy who, like, he's not necessarily going to be the smiliest guy when you first meet him, like, can be kind of intimidating. And now we've bonded over the fact that he loves Harry Potter. And yeah, like we have talked. I cannot tell you how much Mike Evans and I have talked about Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Who doesn't love Harry Potter? This guy right here.
Sammer does not like Harry Potter, Casey.
I would not have agreed to come on this show.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a deal breaker.
She's not coming back on till you watch it. Then
I can't get into it. It came out when I was in high school.
Little kids now.
Yeah, but it came out when I was in high school. It was way below my reading level. Like, I mean,
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
This little elitist over here with his.
You couldn't have used a better word to describe Sammer Ali.
Literally. Yeah. Elitist picture of Sammer.
Yeah.
It's just not my genre, man. I've never watched Game of Thrones. I'm not into Lord of the Rings. I don't do Star Wars, Star Trek, or Harry Potter.
I like the adventures.
But I love Marvel. I grew up reading comic books, man. Come on. Different.
This is disappointing. But anyway,
you love
which
it,
is all that matters. And yeah, we've like just the fact that, and we apparently have the same favorite author of other books, that it's this guy named Harlan Coben. We both love that. And like, it's so funny, like the way that we like ended up getting along so well. And from just like the looks of us and our backgrounds and everything, like, if anything other than the NFL world, our paths might have never crossed. And that's what I love about my job, is I get to know all these people that are from such different backgrounds than me and have had such different life experiences. And like, it broadens all of our worlds. We get along great. Like, you start realizing everybody's just a human and we all have things in common, and like, to stop judging by like the cover of what people are going to look like and who you think you're going to get along with. And just because you aren't exactly the same, like, it's awesome. I love all these guys in the locker room, and some of the guys that I was most terrified of at the beginning end up being the guys that I get along with the best later on.
That's such a good lesson, especially for the current times that we live in. And it's, something we've always echoed on this show, is that when you get on that football field, you're just one big family. You're going to war. Doesn't matter, where you're from. The guy next to you is now your brother. And that's, that's just what makes sports so amazing. And obviously your job lets you take that to a totally different level, which is super awesome. And you on this show has been super awesome. We thank you so much for coming on, Casey. This was awesome. This might be one of my favorite episodes, just because
I got a little choked up right there.
You
got emotional
because she immediately went to those wet, saucy wings, bro. I mean, come on.
No, I think it was the moment she called you elitist and it made you so proud you started to tear up.
Yeah, I've worked very hard. I'd say 33 of my 35 years, I've worked very hard to finally be called elitist. So I believe I've made it.
She already, it comes through the camera.
Whatever.
You're a Harry Potter person, right? Like me and Snake. Your favorite Harry Potter film?
Ooh. Also, for the record, I have Harry Potter books sitting right down there. That's what those are.
I see them.
Looks like a dictionary.
So, my favorite film, I want to say it might be. Oh God, that's so hard. I would say Order of the Phoenix, maybe.
Interesting.
Nah, I can take that back. I think Half-Blood Prince.
That's a good one too.
I think Half-Blood Prince. I liked, so the first three movies, not my favorite. And then starting with Goblet of Fire, they started like getting so much better. So I liked Goblet of Fire, but then I felt like, yeah, this is impossible. Every time I think of a new movie, I'm like, maybe it's that one. I don't know. I feel like anything past 3 is essentially it. Like, Goblet of Fire was incredible. The whole Quidditch like World Cup and like all of that stuff, incredible. Stammer, just sit there and just go.
Yeah, you just sit there and shut up.
You guys are speaking like this other language, Quidditch and.
Shut up. Yeah, keep going, Casey. Keep going, Casey.
Go get a cup of coffee or something and let the kids talk.
Smoke your hookah.
The cool kids, yeah.
So I feel like anything post 4 and after, but yeah, I would say Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, like right around there when like the battle is really like happening. Like, all right, it's back. This is serious. Like. That's when I was like, let's go. This is getting awesome. So, but then like moment of a movie has got to be Miss Weasley killing Bellatrix Lestrange. Like that's the greatest moment in any, like I was like, I got so fired up and I recognized the stupidity of like getting fired up about a fake Wizard World duel. Don't care. I was like, this is Like,
So you didn't like Prisoner of Azkaban?
That's my favorite, and I was like Stanks too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like Alfonso Cuarón. I like how dark and gritty it was. That was my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely better than it. I just can't. The first two were just brutal. Like, and you could tell the budget, the technology, all of it just wasn't there quite yet. And even like the actors were like so young and like they got
Daniel
so
Radcliffe
better.
wasn't even really an actor. Like,
Yeah.
they picked him out of sitting in a casting room or something. And he's like,
Right.
"You look like Harry Potter. You're going to be the
Yeah,
main
so I
actor."
think,
Put it on his forehead.
They got better, but yes, I do think that like Prisoner of Azkaban was where like it was the transition one, and I loved Sirius. Like, yeah, he killed it. Like the Sirius character was phenomenal. But again, even like the technology and all that, like looking at like Remus Lupin as a werewolf, like that whole moment, I'm like, it's not great. It's not the best, but like it was getting there. You could see the transition of like, all right, we're getting better at this, and then 4 and on, like we're gold. I cannot express how many times I have watched all of this, especially during quarantine. I feel like the first month I was in quarantine, one of them was on every day. And I just kept putting it on because it's like my like comfort movie of just like everything is gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay. Like
You're
Harry
fine.
Potter's on, like the world is falling
Casey.
apart, but Harry Potter's on.
I have to say, you're now my favorite guest of all time. You made Sammer shut up. He
Yes.
looks so uncomfortable.
He actually
You're a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm watching this again tonight.
This is the quietest I've ever been on my own show. I have literally nothing to add. Nothing.
Guys, we talked about Harry Potter for 10 minutes. We never even mentioned LaShawn McCoy as a Buccaneer.
Yeah, what the?
Never mentioned it.
The priorities. We have our priorities.
That's how crazy this season has been. This offseason has been.
I think SMB is going to definitely make the jump. Absolutely.
Yeah, shut up.
I had nothing to add there. Yeah, I really thought Quidditch was a good character too. I liked Quidditch.
At least you got a word right. Like that word does exist in Harry Potter. You did at least get a word.
Yeah, that's.
Use it right.
I heard you say it. I thought it was a person you were talking about.
I do have to end it on a Buccaneers note, or at least the last question, Buccaneers, for the Bucs listeners out there. Casey, how excited were you guys? Listen, Shady, we get it. He's a Buc. It's awesome. But more important stuff, because we're starting to see some pictures here and some gifts and some stuff because players are in there. How hyped were you guys that the uniforms went back? So they're new, but they're old, or they're new again? Because I'm like over the moon. I'm so excited. Look how beautiful that thing is.
Yeah.
Look at it.
I want one. I want one. I need one.
I want one so bad.
It's so beautiful, right? Yeah, they're incredible. And I remember like getting to see some of the designs when they were like being made, and
Wait,
then
what?
like, yeah, it was kind of cool.
Just DM me those. Thanks.
yeah. Well, you got a real thing now. Fine. Yeah.
No, I want to see the work in progress part.
He wants to see the drawings, the renderings, the sketches.
And I didn't get to see tons of them. This is the thing. It was kept so on lockdown to make sure that things didn't leak that I didn't see it until like the very end. Like which I was okay with because I'm like, I don't want to accidentally say anything that I'm not supposed to say. I'm a big believer in if I am not supposed to talk about it, I don't want to know it. But yeah, I got to see at the very end of the process, and then it was crazy how we got to see them. We did the photo and video shoot with Chris and Devin and Levante for the reveal.
The reactions. Oh God.
Yeah, so I got to like be in the room when they saw them for the first time, and they put them on for the first time, and then we did all the photo and video shoots with them. And I did a Casey's vlog that was the behind the scenes of that day.
Yes.
So it was crazy because I'm videoing all of it and I'm watching all of it, and I can't put any of it out there. Like I had to keep it so like just to myself, and like I'd seen them all, I'd seen the reactions, and I was like, when can we talk about this? Like it was so like I wanted so badly, and it was funny because not even like any other player saw them. Those guys were it. No other players or anybody was shown those really until it was time, and they even like we weren't letting those guys like take photos of them or anything. We were keeping it so on lockdown. And I'm not going to name what player did this, but a player was texting me saying, "Hey, can you send me photos of the jerseys? I want to know what they look like." And I had to be like, no.
No. What?
And I was
So
like,
crazy.
and he was pissed. Like, he was like, "Are you kidding? Come on. Like, I'm not." And I was like, I will get fired. Like, we were being so on lockdown. And
It's got to be Mike.
really made
Gotta be
a
Donovan.
player-
Gotta be Donovan
It's
Smith.
Donovan. It's not
No.
Mike. Because
Gotta be
Mike
Donovan. It's gotta be
strikes me as
No,
the guy.
I think it's Mike.
Mike Evans is the guy that's like, man, I don't care what. At least that's how he strikes me as the type of guy is. I don't care what color it is, what number. I'm balling. I'm gonna go out there and ball, and I don't care what I'm wearing.
See, Donovan's a fashion guy.
Right.
So I already know he was thinking about
and she has
what
the connection
Jordans are
with
going to
Donovan
match
and
with
Allie.
it. Yeah.
She just told us that her and Mike Evans are best friends because of Quidditch. So clearly it's Mike Evans.
But Mike Evans isn't going to ask her fashion questions.
Yeah, no.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He has swag, dude.
I think anyone should ask me fashion questions, but that's beside the
I
point.
agree.
Actually,
Hey, that top is excellent. I was going to ask you where you
yes,
got it from.
my fancy black tank top that I got. I mean,
Yep.
I
We're all wearing the same one.
I did help design my fancy sneakers over there. I do feel like I have a decent sneaker game. Outside of that, I don't know that I'm necessarily the fashion guru, but I think actually being around all the players has helped me up my fashion game as much as more than the other way around. I'm watching them and I'm like, dang, I gotta.
Well, you're a basketballer, so you kind of have to have anybody who loves basketball loves sneakers. It's just like a.
It is.
thing.
It's true. Yeah, I remember my first pair of sneakers that I got to get, and it was when I was working in the NBA, and we had a event that was called the sneaker soiree, and it was a fundraising event and a awards ceremony for sports people in the DC area. And John Wall was getting an award, and so I was going to cover it. And so this event, you're supposed to be black tie and then with sneakers. And I had this gold dress, and I found these completely gold Adidas high tops, and I was just like, this is the greatest moment of my life. And I still have them and wear them, even though that was a solid 8 years ago now. I actually rocked the gold sneakers for one Bucs game this year. So that was my first pair. That was what started me. That was my gateway drug. That I was like, oh no, my account is going to start suffering. I can tell.
I have a two-parter here: a statement and a question. And I'm done. Statement. On the reveal, I'm pretty sure everyone in the building, when Devin White said, "Oh, we wear these, we have to win." Everybody knew that was the pewter jersey coming. Finally, we were going to get a pewter. Everyone knew that. I'm pretty sure you got a bunch of text and stuff because everyone knew at that moment, we're finally going to get the pewter jersey. And the question is that we asked Carmen as well: have you ever had access to the Bucs account, the big red button, and how nerve-wracking is that in case you tweet something out?
The Twitter account.
The Twitter account. Oof.
I've never had access to the Bucs Twitter. I would not want that at all. That would be terrifying.
I want it.
I do have access to the Bucs Instagram every week now because Carmen and I do our new segment that's the Coffee with Carmen and Casey Thursday mornings. So I'm actually the one who logs into the Bucs account and does the hit go live and then brings Carmen in. So I am logged into the official Bucs Instagram every week. And let me tell you, the moment that show is over, I'm like, log out.
Yeah.
It is so stressful. It is so stressful. That is my biggest fear in life. And it's not I post things that would be sketchy. I'm not posting crazy things on my personal that would if it was accidentally on the Bucs, would be terrible. But just the fact that it would be something that's about me and my life and not about the Bucs, that is.
Here's a random cat photo on the Bucs official page.
You're totally doing it wrong.
NFL Network totally reported, and the Buccaneers tweeted out
Yes.
A cat. What does it mean?
Yes, I will say, if it was me, it would never be a cat. It would only be a
dogs for life, baby.
Yes, cats are the worst. Cats are the literal worst.
Beck, I don't know if you follow a lot of Buccaneer fans on Twitter, but we have a friend of ours, Steven Beck. He's a very big cat guy. Huge cat.
Yes. I am actually friends with Steven. And I have given him more crap about that. Sent him, there was some article that came out recently that was girls are less likely to date a guy with cats. And I sent him that
It explains so much.
Bro, you gotta get cats.
Before we have you leave this show, since we're on the whole Becks thing, I didn't know, but he's actually a sponsor of our show here with the
so she can see it.
I'm trying to get it.
That's baby oil.
That's Steven Beck baby oil.
What?
Yes,
Beck's baby oil.
that's right. Yeah, listen,
So you need to let him know that you've seen it.
we're going to make you go back and watch other episodes because we're not going to talk about that when you're actually on the episode.
Look how shocked she is.
Not going to happen.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Give her the Noah Spence story, bro.
No, we can give it to her. We'll end the show on this. We're not going to ask the question. I'm too respectful to do that. But we have always gone to training camp, and it seems that every time Noah Spence was in camp, he'd wear the crop top jersey, and you would always see his abs, and they always looked like they were covered in baby oil. They were just glistening, and it became a huge, I don't know how, but Stank loves his abs and his glistening abs, and it just became a part of our show.
That's all I could see when I was out there.
Yeah, it was so we would wear shades because of them.
Hair coming off of them. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
We would wear sunglasses just to avoid the glare from the glisten of his 8-pack. It was just unreal.
It's true.
Yeah, and that became a huge part of our show. And now we have an official baby oil that is referred to when it comes to the Bucs and players. Becks
And glistening players.
baby oil.
Listen, he's a model. He loves the attention.
Yeah.
Boom. His face is, look, we all have it.
Oh my god, this is incredible. Okay. I actually need you all to hold them up so I can see how much is still in the bottle.
Mine's unopened.
This is my third one. This is my third one this week.
You're so gross. You're such a gross.
No, I go to the gym. I like to look at myself in the mirror. That's why.
You are, yeah.
What did you think?
It's funny, when I worked for the Rams, Kenny Britt was a wide receiver there, and that dude also rocked the crop top. And they had a rule that like you had to have a shirt on at practice, like especially like under pads and stuff like that was just a rule. I don't know if that's like a rule commonly, but at the Rams it was at least a rule that you had to have a shirt on like under any pads or anything. And you like he interpreted that rule very liberally, where he cut a shirt to where it was like hardly a shirt anymore. It was like a little tiny bit holding it here, and then it stopped like here. And like as soon as practice was over, even that was off. But like his and he would tuck his jersey up in it too. So like even when he was in full pads and jersey at practice, you could still see his abs. Like it was like full like Zeke Elliott, like all of that, just like consistent abs. And then as soon as practice was over, shirt off, and we'd be like he'd be in like the dining hall, and everyone's like, bro, put your shirt on. Like, we're eating lunch.
Sammer has that same rule on this podcast. Otherwise, I would do it shirtless.
Yeah, we have a couple rules. We have that rule, and we have no Spanish children allowed on the show either.
She's not going to know that either.
You won't get that at all.
That sounds that sounds mildly racist. I don't know.
Mildly.
Is it like,
No, it's not a racist thing. They both have Spanish children who interrupt our shows, so I made it a rule.
We both have Spanish children, and he won't allow them on the podcast.
Thank you. We curse on this podcast.
that just sounds like a no children rule. I don't know that if you had to
Right.
throw the Spanish
We've made
part
it.
in there. Like,
We've made
Well, I had to throw it in there because their children interrupted our show. My children, the Arab children, never did. Therefore, no rule.
that's
But I hope you let Steven know that you now know about his product, his private label, Beck's Baby Oil.
Send you a bottle, Casey.
You're getting a bottle. Don't worry.
Shelf behind you.
You're getting a bottle. Thank you for joining us. I'm so sorry this went way longer than it usually would. But you were very fun to hang out with. This is super awesome. I hope you'll come back. I don't know. Maybe you won't. We'll see. Because I don't like Harry Potter. So
yeah, that's that. If I don't come back, that's why. Now you
okay, well.
Me and Stank. Just remember me and Stank.
Yeah, right.
yeah, we'll
Love
just
Harry
like
Potter.
have to fire Sammer for a week. And
Casey, make sure you at me at every one of your Harry Potter tweets, and I will.
I have one last thing before we go. I'm giving you homework, Casey. When you finally get to interview Tom Brady, you can do this off the air or on the actual interview itself. I need to know if he eats his wings dry rub or sauced up when he is choosing to be unhealthy. I know he's going to probably have some like weird avocado, kale wing with no meat, but whatever. I just need to know if it's wet or not.
what he's classified as a wing. That's what I'll even ask him. Like, when's the last time you ate a wing? Because I can't imagine it happens very.
Well, he probably takes avocados and they just like airbrush them in a way that they look.
To a wing.
Yeah, they look like a wing. You know,
I would
just
do that. That sounds pretty tasty. I'm down for that. Barbecue avocado in wing form.
if it's covered in sauce, I'm in. Dipping it in blue cheese. All right. Well, thank you again, Casey. Hope you have the rest of a good rest of your week. And as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.